Hello and welcome to Business Today. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and we are coming to you from the World Government Summit in Dubai. As part of our conversations with a lot of people from different sectors, I have now with me the CEO of AFP, Fabrice Fries. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for your time with us today. Earlier today, I was listening to your thoughts at a session on the future of communications and technology and media, and a lot of speakers spoke about that, and that's where I want to begin our conversation. What is the future of the media as we know it, given the churn that we are seeing, social media, digital consumption, and now AI?
I unfortunately believe that the media is facing an existential threat. The way it's not my opinion, it's what the recent Reuters digital report states. And the media is facing an existential threat because AI substitutes clicks with summaries. And the media has already lost a lot of advertising to the platforms, and now is losing such traffic. We need the media, our clients. So as a news agency, we can only be as healthy as our clients. That's why I am more than preoccupied. And I believe that what is essential is that AI developers compensate the media for their intellectual property, which is not the case today. So we are faced with what we can call, a stealing of industrial scale. And we need that money to be able to invest precisely in AI tools and innovate and continue to expand.
Absolutely, and you spoke about stealing at an industrial scale. How confident are you that something could work out between AI platforms and content platforms like the example that you have just given us, given that even in the digital news era, this debate of various platforms and publishers paying the original content creators, even that has not been fully resolved. So can we be confident that something could happen with the AI companies?
Unfortunately, here again, I'm not confident. I was more confident, let's say, 2 years ago, because we had managed to strike deals with the platforms, with Google, with Facebook, with Microsoft. They accepted the idea of paying for the content they use. We were able to strike a first deal with an AI developer, a French, European-based developer called Mistral. So that looked very promising. But the landscape, the regulatory landscape, has dramatically changed. There is no incentive for these platforms and AI players to compensate intellectual property. So we've seen the platforms now scaling back their investment when it comes to the compensation of IP. And AI players who 2 years ago had signed several deals with the Financial Times, with Springer, with many publishers in Europe and elsewhere, now the momentum seems to have disappeared. We have, for the time being, as AFP, we have no current discussion with any of these big platforms, not because we are not active, but because we have no one in front of us willing to start negotiating. I believe this is dramatic. It is painful, and it will be painful also for the platforms and the AI developers, because they need good content, verified information, quality information. Today, AI developers generate synthetic content, which is shitty content, let's call it that way. And I'm afraid they will end up being eaten up by this slop content because they are fed with content. But if the majority of their of what they are fed of is synthetic content, the quality of their answers will deteriorate, and this will have a knock-on effect on users. So it's in the interest of everybody of having a fair level playing field, and to have players who compensate intellectual property. It's as simple as that.
You make some very, very strong points, and because fake news is something that has bothered governments across the world. It represents a danger to society at large. Some companies invest on that, governments are bothered. So is it also time, therefore, for governments and regulators to wake up across the world and say that not just in the interest of the companies who publish original content, but in the wider interest of society, something needs to be done?
Yes, but I believe that the ones that should be doing something are first and foremost the platforms themselves, because they profit of this disinformation. They make business out of it. And there is a principle in the industry which is the polluter pays. So it's very simple. The platform should pay for the fight against disinformation. And it's exactly what Facebook, for example, had started doing in the wake of the Brexit and of the first election of Donald Trump. They had built an ecosystem of fact-checkers. You have about 200 media organizations in the world who do fact-checking. Since the beginning of last year, for purely political reasons, they stopped these programs, and they have sort of ended the fight against disinformation. So now we see governments, institutions trying to step in with taxpayers' money, which I find paradoxical, because the platforms should be paying for this program, not the other way around.
That's a good insight and helps me clear up a doubt in that regard. You spoke about lack of confidence. May I ask you, are you at all confident about anything regarding the future of what is so-called traditional media?
I think that the AI revolution is far more intense than the shift from print to digital. So I do all the newsrooms today will tell you the same story about how they integrate AI in their workflows, about cutting low-level tasks, routine tasks, and putting more boots on the ground. Everybody says about the same, and this is, of course, our strategy at AFP. What we try to do is to integrate these tools in the newsroom, so as to have fewer journalists behind their screen and more on the ground. So this is the optimistic version, but again, what makes me concerned is the business outlook. Again, and I realize I'm very pessimistic, but I see no future if intellectual property is not recognized and remunerated, because journalism has a cost, and quality verified information has a cost. And we can imagine a future where, quality information is just a luxury good for very privileged people who can afford subscribing to a very niche media. And most of the population gets informed on free tools.
Or misinformed, actually.
And misinformed.
Absolutely. And while you say that you are pessimistic, I think what you are really doing is sounding the warning bells, just like so many other media executives and journalists all over the world. I've been a working journalist all my life. I completely understand your point about intellectual property and that being respected.
Sorry, I must say I was participating in a roundtable this morning on this very issue. I was the only one who was so pessimistic, so I'm not representative, and it's always good to feel optimistic and see some light, show some light. I must say I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
We have to speak the truth all the time. Let's turn our focus to India as a news market. I get to go to different conferences and also have conversations with a lot of people from all over the world. One of the things that most people talk about is the vibrant nature of the Indian market, multi-language, multi-platform, different kinds of media surviving. Our group is the largest group and it spans the entire spectrum of media products and genres. How do you see the Indian news market, and if you could also talk a bit about what work you are doing there?
So we have an office in Delhi with about 30 journalists, text, photo, video, from all, mostly locals, of course. And we see, as you said, India is a very vibrant market. So it's clearly a place where we are going to continue to invest. I'm not a great specialist of the Indian media market, but I know that from, for example, discussions with the CEO of PTI, your news agency, that, for example, when it comes to AI, he's probably more advanced than we are, and we have a lot to learn from PTI.
Absolutely, and since you say that you have a lot to learn, I just want a core sort of ethical principle, if you could share with us, that where does a newsroom and a media organization draw a line on utilizing AI, not in the business side of things, but on the content side?
We drew a line which is very simple. We do not produce nor distribute AI-generated content. Not all news agencies have this kind of line. Several produce content with AI. What I mean by that is, of course, we use AI. A journalist is encouraged to use AI tools to prepare, to organize, to research, and to check afterwards. But the output must always be made by a human. This is also true for images, and this is also true, by the way, for fact-checking. Today you have tools, AI tools, that help you fact-check a video or a photo. Our rule is that you must always have a human that has the final say and says, this is right, this is false, or this is what we know about an image. So this rule is, this is our red line. This might change in the course of time. The reason we have this rule is very simple. It's because, as we all know, AI is prone to hallucinations. Our credibility, our accuracy is our greatest currency, and we can't play with that. So we prefer to be a bit slower in the adoption of AI, but to capitalize on our strongest asset, which is accuracy and reliability.
Absolutely, and in a world of AI slop, our viewers, sometimes you may not even get to know whether this is real content produced by a hardworking journalist or is it just slop that has been fed to you. Fabrice, thank you very much for your time and for giving us that perspective on a subject that should not just bother journalists, but should bother every single consumer of news and information across the world. Thank you very much for your time with us today. With that, it's a wrap. We'll be back with more. Until then, goodbye.